It is conventional for horror trailers to be non-linear. This is a convention that I used in my trailer. I mixed up the order of it, but decided to keep a little bit of the equilibrium at the start so that Todoroff's theory was still evident. It is also conventional for the shots in torture films to be short close-ups with longer shots at the start. I developed this convention. I used lots of short close-ups, but put the longer shots at the end. I did this because I wanted the pace of my trailer to be different, and I wanted to reflect the reverse narrative, female torturer, in the trailer itself. The first section of my trailer starts off with the green screen, and then the animated logos of the institution, distributor and producer. This is conventional with film trailers, and makes the overall product look more professional. The first 4 shots of my trailer are relatively slow and don't hint at the genre of the film. This is the equilibrium part. The shots don't show the full face of the main character in order to create enigma around whom the torturer is. These shots show a little bit about the torturer before showing the audience some of the things she does. There is a high-pitched noise throughout this trailer, which layers up as it goes on. The first shot just has the high-pitched noise, and as the second shot comes in, there's a deep bang, which is synchronous as the shot comes in. The second shot is of the gate from shot 1, but this time a woman walks through it. There is dialogue over this shot that says, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be back." "Oh, don't worry, I'll be back." This implies that the torturer is leaving the victim alone, but will come back. The next 2 shots show the main character outside. These shots tell the audience a little bit about the main character before they find out that she is the torturer. After this section, the shots get significantly more gruesome, which is typical for torture films. The next shot is of a man's hands tied together. This implies that he is the victim. The man's hands are struggling and writhing around to imply he is trying to get free. The audio with this shot is carried on from previous shots, but has been layered a little bit. It has a heavier beat to which I made sure was in sync with the shots coming in and out. After this shot of the hands is the first caption. This caption reads, "She won't let." This is part of the tagline and tells the viewer more about the narrative. Each caption shot alone creates more enigma because they all create questions that the viewer will want to have answered. The caption shots flicker and jump, which adds to the atmosphere of the film. There is dialogue over the shot of the man's hands that says, "It can't go on." It can't go on. And this creates more questions for the audience and in turn creates more mystery. The next caption shot then fades in and reads, "The stereotype." This caption is another section from the tagline and starts to answer some questions for the viewers. From the end of the weapon shot and during the fade into the start of the caption shot, you can hear a man screaming. Even though the shots don't show a man screaming, the audio works with it because it implies the pain the victims would be feeling. Straight after the second caption is a shot of a high heel putting out a cigarette on the floor. The shot then fades to black for a few seconds and the next shot cuts in suddenly. This is of the main character looking down on the camera to imply she is looking down on the victim. The audio in these shots is getting heavier still. The next shot is of a child's bedroom to hint at the torturer's background, and the dialogue over the top says, "It's all coming back to me now." These shots are there to try and tell the audience about her background, and possibly tell them why she ends up doing what she does. This shot fades to black for a split second, and a shot of a woman's hand is seen with blood dripping from the fingers. This then cuts to a split second shot of a female eye. The shot shows the audience a little bit more of the face of the torturer. As this shot coming in, there is another synchronous bang. Then a shot of a man's feet tied up, and the feet flinch as a loud, sharp shout is heard. We can then see a low-angle shot of the same legs from before walking towards the camera slowly. This shot is filmed from the floor as a point-of-view shot to make it look like the camera is seeing what the victim would be seeing. The dialogue over this shot says, "Someone's got to pay." Someone's got to pay. We then see another very quick shot of a woman's lips. This is starting to build up a profile of what she really looks like. After this is another short shot of a broken cigarette on the floor, a man's hand shaking and a pool of blood, and then a man's mouth with blood spluttering from it. During this shot, there is more dialogue that says, "And this time, it's you."
And this time, it's you.
The sound behind these shots is still getting heavier and layered. There is a heavy bass and a sharp atmospheric noise over the top.
And this time, it's you.
These create a dense atmosphere for the trailer. The last caption shot that comes in and reads "Continue." This is the full tagline done now. Altogether it reads, "She won't let the stereotype continue," hinting at the idea that women are usually the victims in torture films, and the narrative in this film is that she changes that stereotype. The music starts to reach a high point and it sounds slightly static. There is then a shot of the torturer's face on a bright purple background. The purple is a dark colour, which is typical for horror films, but is also a slightly feminine colour which works well with the main character. This shot fades out and a shot of a female hand quickly bolting a gate shut fades in. This then fades out to black again and a high angle shot of two people holding hands fades in. The dialogue over this shot says, "Are you sure you're okay?"
Are you sure you're okay?
Which tells the viewer that one of the people in the shot is either a mother or an aunt, someone who cares for her. Again, this gives the audience a little more information about the torturer. The shot then fades to black and the next shot of the main character sat side onto the camera. The dialogue over this carries on from the dialogue from the previous shot and says, "Yeah, I'm fine."
Yeah, I'm fine.
The heavy bass of the music starts to ease off now, and the high frequency starts to create a tense feeling. There is then multiple long shots of broken glass with blood on it, and a man's tied up hands with bleeding wrists, a reverse shot of the torturer walking out of the door, a shot of a pool of blood that goes in and out of focus, and then an even longer shot of a knife being dragged along the woman's tongue. These are longer shots than the ones at the start, which is not conventional for torture films, but I wanted to develop this convention and change it a little. The high frequency note reaches a high point just as a very quick shot of the main character's full face. Music fades out and the title, release date and billing block sequence come in. The quick shot of the face acts as a teaser as it only lasts a couple of seconds. The end sequence is conventional, and I use this convention because it made the trailer look less amateur and more professional. The release date and title shot both flicker like the caption shots to create continuity. The billing block, however, doesn't flicker because it isn't conventional for it to. The representation in this trailer is the opposite of what you would expect from a torture film, just for the basic fact that the torturer victim convention is completely reversed. Women in torture films, usually the victims, are represented as weak, helpless and small. The men in torture films, usually the torturer, are represented as strong, clever and witty and in control. I did the complete opposite and reversed these conventions so that the woman was strong, in control and clever, and the men were weak and helpless. The cinematography conventions in torture films are usually close-up, low and high angles and pans. I use all these shot types in my trailer as I wanted to make sure I use as many conventions as possible, seeing as the main convention is completely different. Other conventions I used were typography conventions, like using a sans serif font for the captions. Sans serif fonts are typical for torture films because they have a more traditional, rough and old-fashioned feel to them. When it came to the editing of my trailer, I used multiple transitions. I used addictive and non-addictive fades, simple cuts and a video filter called Bad TV. Bad TV was used on the caption shots to make them flicker in and out, and the fades were used to transition one shot to the other, with a section of black in between. I also used something called Smooth Cam, which reduced the shake of the camera from filming. Using this tool was really helpful in making my shots look more clean cut and professional.